awesome, dude.
Torture's awesome?
Your president is getting nothing
Who's
done.
my president, Obama? I didn't vote for Obama, so he's not my president.
This state has got the highest unemployment rate in the country right now. Your president, since he's taken office, hasn't gotten nothing done.
I voted for Nader.
And let me tell you something about torture.
Yeah.
And I'll go on record. As torture is a justifiable means to extract information from people who could prevent a lot of lost lives.
It's been proven that torture doesn't work.
And so waterboarding in the CIA, when we were crossing the borders of Cambodia, and we were between Cambodia and Vietnam, the CIA, it was necessary to extract information which saved a lot of lives in the long run.
That could be debatable because it's been proven that anybody tortured would admit to stuff.
No.
If you tortured me, I would admit it.
Were you there? You know, the Democrats thus far have been extremely complacent, and I'm just.
I did not vote for any Democrat.
I cannot believe. So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How come you guys are?
Here?
Right here in front of the courthouse.
Here is because ByBee, Judge ByBee, was one of the judges who okayed all these torture. We can slam heads in walls and do all these type of things. Well, he's on the Ninth Circuit Court, which is represented right here.
Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Of Appeals. That's where he serves under. He's in Las Vegas, but this is the closest one. And we're protesting those memo signing.
Yes, sir.
Of allowing torture and of okaying torture to be used against Geneva, against international law.
Okay. Well, I've heard rumors that they wanted to close Guantanamo Bay, and I gotta go on record as saying that a lot of the things that occurred on Guantanamo Bay were inhumane, and the pictures. And so, however, torture is, like I said, it's a reliable means to extract information.
No, it's not.
And
I don't.
And one more thing. Maybe closing Guantanamo Bay would be a good idea. And let me say this because there's no strict controls. You know what I mean? They're kind of separated from the rest of society. You know what I mean? They don't have to follow the rules.
American law, no, you know, it's
exactly. And so when you don't have people enforcing the law, like Cuba's pretty much a hostile territory, a hostile zone for America. Am I right?
It's been claimed that, yeah.
And so Guantanamo, maybe it would be a good idea to close Guantanamo Bay. What do you think about that?
Well, I think close Guantanamo. We need to treat people with human rights. Bad guys, good guys are indifferent. Human rights and abide by law and we have laws in place, but they changed them for all these reasons that were in the war and the Bush crowd did.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So what would be justifiable torture? Or would you?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. See that? What I just gave you there?
I'd like to know. I'd like to know why.
Nothing. Because number one, usually they'll tell you anything that you want them to tell you.
Under torture.
Every professional interrogator has said it does not work. We get it better by doing it the correct way. That thing that I gave you right there, no, you can't. That's the only copy I got. That is what we got in Vietnam. This is our Geneva card. It tells us exactly how we are supposed to handle captives.
Okay. Let's hypothetical situation.
There's no hypothetical situations, no ticking time bombs, none of that crap. Because if somebody's a ticking time bomb person, they'd rather die. If they're going to be a suicide bomber, why should they tell you?
Okay. The problem that I have with the liberals in this state is that, you know what,
see this right there?
Security.
That's the law. That's the law.
Let me finish.
Do you believe that? Do you believe this is the law? That's what I want to know. Do you believe this is the law of the land?
I don't believe it's a living and breathing document. I believe that the founders and the forefathers of the Constitution of the United States would never have let this happen.
All right. In there, Article 6, Section 2, it says all treaties made and ratified by the Senate are the supreme law of the land. That's the Convention Against Torture, that's Geneva, that's all of those conventions. They become the law of the land, just like the Constitution. That's what it says in there. So if we have the Conventions Against Torture, we have Geneva, you cannot break Geneva, you cannot break the Conventions Against Torture.
Right. I agree to that.
But the spirit behind the Geneva Convention, the spirit behind the Geneva Convention.
It's not the Geneva. Forget Geneva. It's the Conventions Against Torture. We wrote laws based on the Conventions Against Torture that outlawed torture, that actually gave. Here, I'll show you right here.
There are so many more important topics. For example, in Africa.
Both ways, for example. See that right there is the statute. That's what happens when people are caught torturing. They get sentenced to 20 years, and if they kill somebody during it, that's the death penalty. There's also conspiracy, which is what this guy is charged with. How about if
The United States is the
innocent
biggest purveyor of violence. We've killed thousands of people. The United States doesn't deserve anything. The United States killed thousands of Iraqis in Afghanistan.
Millions.
Millions. And you're talking about us being the better? You are an ignorant American.
And you liberals are opening our country up to terrorist attacks.
You are full of shit.
Hey, I would rather... Bruce,
Richard,
I am more afraid.
Discussions
I am more
without,
afraid of cancer.
we can't have these discussions without that kind of stuff. Then we can't have them.
For example, Randy Leonard, he's our
Richard,
city
are you hearing me?
commissioner, right?
Yeah.
You know that guy?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Sorry, well, do you want to say something? Or what was your opinion?
It just cuts both ways. I mean, we don't want American soldiers getting tortured.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Everybody. Like, if it was the other way around, I don't really want that.
Okay.
And it's not going to stop.
He brings up a good point. We don't want Americans being tortured for the very same things that we're trying to hold accountability.
How about John McCain? John McCain was an MIA. How about the MIAs? Do you think the other side? Do you think the other side is as considerate as you guys are? Do you think the other side is going to think about the Geneva Convention when they're torturing Americans? But you know what peace and love is going to get us? And invade it. You know what I mean?
I still want to protect our country, but
because your Nazi president's not in power anymore.
Man, you better back off me, man.
Yeah. Have you served?
No, my grandfather served in the Korean War. My dad was in the Vietnam War. I'm a full-time student, you know what I mean? So
I appreciate your input, and dialogue is how we get somewhere with all this. So I appreciate your input.
And
I've seen it.
And I just love it. It's all about the fight, you know what I mean? It's all.
I've seen it. It ain't worth it. Okay.
However, we have to see eye to eye on. Are you a vet?
Yeah.
You're a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, hypothetical. Let's say we had a terrorist cell operating in Cambodia that was about to cross the border into Vietnam and attack. I mean, full strength. You know what I'm saying? And we have the means, the ways and the means to prevent lost American lives. You know what I'm saying? And so what do you do in that situation?
What do? You send in a alert team.
Okay, talk about that.
Long-range reconnaissance patrol. My friend, highest decorated Vietnam vet in the state, was a ranger on alerts, and they did not contact. They went out and they listened and they checked where things were. They were out reconnaissing, and that's what stopped anything.
What about critical time? What if time was an issue? What if we had an inside tip that we were about to get
then
attacked?
You check it out. Then you go and you look, and you send a patrol out.
And we know that this guy has information that could prevent that, and we know it's going to happen within the next 48 hours. We're going to waterboard that sucker. We're going to peel its freaking fingernails, and he's going to pay. You know what I mean for coming against.
And where do you
this
keep drawing the line on how many people do you do that to?
Yeah.
Well, and here's the way. Because why?
How about if he's the wrong
here's
guy?
why.
How about if they pick up the wrong guy?
Because we are
How
still.
about if they pick up the wrong guy and do the same thing to him?
Ronald Reagan said, "We are the shining light. We are the shining city on the hill." Ronald Reagan. That's it.
And you know what? He signed the Convention Against Torture, saying torture is abhorrent.
Oh, that's.
Yep.
What's your name, by the way?
To remember the dead and the torture. The innocent victims of the occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan.
I think everybody should go there. Then they can send you to me. Torture tastes great. It tastes a whole lot better than the other ones you send me from Bagram Air Force Base, Mountain Range, the Black Site, Guantanamo. Thank you, America. Thank you for torturing.